welcome everyone to the CRE Arena. Today we have Miss Natalie Wainwright, who is the exclusive tenant rep at Omnipresence Commercial. So, Natalie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we are really excited to get into it, and I don't want to do a bad job at listing out all the accolades and all the accomplishments, but I want to tell everybody that you're in for an absolute treat. So, Natalie has done so much across the commercial real estate industry, and you've truly made such an impact, not only in just the tenant rep world, but for women in commercial real estate and so many other things that we're going to get into. So, really, really excited for it. But to get us started, I love to kind of get the backstory and really how you got to where you are today. So, kind of where were you raised? Where'd you come up? How did you get into commercial real estate? If you could kind of tell us the whole story, that'd be great.
That was a great opener. Thanks, Augie.
I
It's
try.
great
I
to be
try.
here with you after connecting on Twitter for so long. It's great. So thank you
Yeah,
for having me
absolutely.
on. Yeah, so I had no traditional background in this industry. Didn't know to be interested in it in general. Started out as a receptionist at a global firm called I don't know if you've heard of it, Cushman and Wakefield. Just a
Never.
little firm, just a little one. And started out as the receptionist, and I didn't know for the first 2 weeks what CRE meant. I kept hearing it kind of slang around there, but I did my gig and I did a good job. And finally, I took about 3 weeks for my what became my partner to ask me if I wanted to be an admin. And boy, oh boy, did I want to be an admin. Okay, I was making $12 an hour up there. I have two kids, and found the job on Craigslist. And so I became a broker exclusive admin. And what was really cool is that one, and I think this was really brilliant now that I've been in the industry long enough, is that one was a landlord rep and one was a tenant rep. And so I got to sit in between these two giants in the industry.
Yeah.
And I got to hear one take the call of an unrepped tenant and go, yeah, got another one. Because he's a landlord rep and he's going to take them to the cleaners. And I would hear him when somebody would say, hey, we really want to make sure we get the TIs and everything. And I'm going to go to bat for you. But I would never hear that going to bat with a landlord. But
Yeah.
then I'd also hear who became my partner, the tenant rep, and fighting for the tenants and going up against the landlords.
Yeah.
So being able to hear both sides of the fence. So came in as a brokerage coordinator and then just kind of climbed the ranks, fell in love with the industry, and just started gravitating naturally to what became my entire career, exclusive tenant representation within Southern and Northern Nevada.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And I love that start. Another similarity that we have in common, we both started off in this industry at $12 an hour. So
All right.
I was a researcher. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I started
That's
off as
a
a
great way to get in. Do you
research
still
analyst.
recommend that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when it was my time to shine, like what I did in the 2 years as a researcher, was I probably did 300, 300 to 400 BPOs, BOVs for our advisors. So like
Oh,
the
that's
agents in the firm, like they would lean on me as the research department and we would do the BPOs. And I got to see, we put together like 20-page packets of these properties, everything about them, the market, the comps, everything, strategy, all this stuff we got to work on them with. And I did like I said, like 400 of those in 2 years. So then when it
wow.
was my time to shine, like I could pretty much tell you any property owner, any like lease rate, any sale, like price per square foot,
That's
like
invaluable. Yeah.
it was a heaven sent. So one of the things you said, so you kind of got hooked onto tenant rep from the get go, and you liked that better than the landlord side. Why was that? Was that like you felt like, hey, I mean, I know the tenant rep world, I mean, these are also bigger tenants and bigger corporations, but where did you feel like you were like fighting for the smaller guy in the transaction, or like what attracted you to the tenant rep side of the business?
I like that. I like that. I can tell you've been talking to some tenant reps.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I working for the landlords, and this broker had a big portfolio of landlords, and I would go in open spaces. I didn't like the whole get the key, find the key that works, open the space. Maybe they're going to be on time, maybe they're not, but you
Yeah.
can't fault them. They're in the middle of a big tour, and I say that to like, hey, take it easy on me, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea because I never heard my partner, and I'll just refer to him as that. He's not my partner anymore, but I'll refer to him that for the sake of this conversation. Um, I never heard him calculate a commission before the deal was done. And I quickly learned that the better we did our job, the less money we made. And I thought that there was something very noble in that. And I was raised by a hippie from England, my dad. My mom's a little Italian. They somehow found each other. But my dad's just a rocker from England. And he raised me that if we weren't doing something to make the world better, then we're not doing something right.
Yeah.
And my partner got me to stop wearing patchouli oil, but I still felt like I was doing something with my roots.
Yeah.
And that's honestly why I stuck to it, and why I'm really proud of what I do to this day. That I do make less money the better I do. I never pre-calculate my commission, which is probably not the best idea when you start your own firm. But
Yeah.
I take a lot of pride in that, and I do
Yeah.
feel like I'm looking out for people, because it pains me to read in the paper how proud these huge HQ they've moved their HQs here, the CEOs, and they're so proud of the fact that they put $1 million in tenant improvements in their building. That I'm not proud of that for you. I
Yeah.
think you're silly, and I think that
Yeah.
you're misguided, because
Yeah.
if you had somebody on your side of the table, you wouldn't have spent $1 million on TIs. You would have spent maybe 200,000. You would have had the landlord cover that for you, or maybe it would have been amortized. We'll see whatever would have happened, but you would have spent that on uh, intellectual capital. You would have
Yeah.
spent that on equipment. You would have spent that on things that matter and move your business forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I think what I do matters.
Yeah.
In
No,
a little way, it helps my city. So
no,
yeah.
absolutely. No, and I love that. So, from you, so when you were, going from the role of admin to, transacting and doing deals, talk to me about the little, like the switch that you had to make. I mean, obviously, like professionally in your day to day of the business, but I mean, maybe mentally for you, like how did that go of like making that transition? And then because you obviously like didn't, just take part, like you've done extremely well, so like from you going from admin to tenant rep broker, and then being a very good tenant rep broker, kind of walk me through that and how that went down.
You're really good at this. I've been on, like, I don't know, 100 podcasts, but you ask questions that it's obvious that and I don't know if it's through CRE Academy or how you know to ask these questions, but yeah, man. I actually have a
Oh,
video, and I'm 10 years, I don't know how many years younger, 12 years younger. I'm really tiny because you're scared all the time.
yeah.
I have a video of me when I'm ringing the gong and going, I'm no longer on salary. Um,
Oh,
and I
wow.
was excited about that. And I'm a single mom, and my kids were young, and I told them buckle up, and they needed to buckle up.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can I can catch my breath thinking about it. Because I was a single mom in every sense of the word. If I didn't make money, that was it for us.
Yeah.
And there was some tough times there. It was I can catch the emotion thinking about it. So yeah, you need to make sure that you have the right deal flow. You need to make sure you're ready and that you are saving for those months. You want
Yeah.
to keep that pipeline full. And I remember my first big check. You have to remember your first big check.
Yeah.
I think it was not a. It wasn't, obviously. Now I look back and I go, "That's a scary month." But I made six. I think I made $6,000, and I put it in the bank, but then I cashed it out, and I rolled in it, and I sent my siblings a video, because I we grew up really poor,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was a military wife before that, and I'd never seen that much money at one time, and I rolled in
Yeah.
it. And
That's
it was just,
awesome.
it's great. It's exciting. This industry is so exciting because you can make as much as you want, and it's
Yeah.
all how hard you work,
Yeah.
and the skills that you learn, and are you always learning, and who are you listening to, and who are you surrounding yourself with, and everything
Yeah.
else. So it's just
Yeah.
been a really exciting climb, but that switch is scary. So being a
Yeah.
researcher, being an admin, I think these are excellent ways to get your foot in the door, and
Yeah.
make sure that you have that climb can be a little bit softer of a launch and not as hard,
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Having that runway, and at the same time being paid something to get in the business and learn, and especially, I mean, for you and me as well. Like I say mentors in the business, but it's not your traditional mentor relationship that you would think of. I mean, I think that it's this way in all of commercial real estate, or a lot of commercial real estate, because top producing commercial real estate brokers, like, they produce. And if you can help them out, if you can go on property tours with them, if you can provide them value in any way, like, that's really the mentorship relationship. It's not as much like, hey, let me take 10 hours out of my week to like pour into your own development. It's kind of
Yeah.
just like, hey, tag along, try and keep up, and
See
do
a
whatever
need,
you
fill a
can
need.
to help
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So no, and that's an incredible way to learn. Somebody once told me, and what I also share with other like younger people too is I heard somebody say one time, the fastest way to the top, so to speak, the fastest way to the top is to find somebody with momentum and provide value to them. And I tell that for people that are getting into the industry, like, if you can become a admin, a researcher, something like that,
Yes.
that's great. But also for somebody, like, if you find the broker that's making $500,000 and they're stressed out working 70 hours a week, they're not calling their leads that are coming through, and they'll pay you something, or you can just even
Yeah.
have a runway to get on and help them out for 2-3 months. I mean, if those are good people and you can help that person make 600, 700, 800,000, like, you will be compensated for it. So
They'll be happy to share it with you. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
for
Keep
sure.
up their CRM, do their listings, help with
Yeah,
their social media, teach them something new. It's like anything that you can do to help scale their time,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
100%.
No,
Yeah.
that's huge, and that's what the game is. As you become a top producer, is continuing to level up on your time. That's such a big thing. So, for you, and to kind of put a cap on what we've talked about so far, for your first 1 to 2 years in the business, in the business post admin role, what is advice you would give to yourself as that gal that's young, scared, going for it, and going from the admin role to the broker role, knowing what you know now, like, what advice would you give to yourself for that season?
Gosh, the advice I'd give myself my first couple of years as a broker and commission based. I would, I wish I would have listened when I was told that everybody's figuring it out. I
Yeah,
was really hard on myself.
yeah,
I really wish that when I was told, like, not everybody knows everything, we're all figuring it out as we go,
yeah,
listen to that because everybody
yeah,
is figuring it out. I would have listened to that. I couldn't have worked any harder. I know that for a fact. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it ends up coming together. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I ate it up. I ate
yeah,
it up. The learning curve is hard. I don't know if you remember it. I mean, you've been doing this for a while. The
yeah,
learning curve is hard, and
yeah.
it did take me a couple of years for A to get to B to really watch the
Mhm.
process. I think the best thing that I did as somebody that was learning, and the best thing that my partner did as my mentor was every call was on speakerphone. He let me record the ones that were appropriate for me to record. I
Yeah,
would listen to them in the car. I would re-listen and re-listen. I was on every email. And so I could see what it meant because nothing makes sense.
hmm,
But the more that I listened over and over again, when he explained to an incoming client and they were considering where they wanted to be in the market, I would listen to that call and memorize it.
yeah,
Okay, so this is why they might be in Henderson, or this is why they might be in Summerlin. Oh, this is why a call center can't be in a full service gross building. And I would just, maybe I'm just birding it, dictating it like you do in high school, right? When you're studying and you're trying to
yeah,
remember everything. But then eventually you know what you're talking about. And that feels so good.
yeah.
So just that I'm glad with the tools that I had, and I still have some of those recordings, and I refuse to delete them because I'm so thankful for the way that I came up.
Yeah. No, I love
Yeah.
that. And that's being a student of the game, and also, just making the most out of what you have, because I think that's one thing that I've seen, a common trait amongst successful people in this business is that intention. And that's a word that I really try and stick by, is being intentional, and being intentional about your own personal development and professional development. Like, it's very easy for you to sit on those calls and like it go in one ear and then like muddle around in there a little bit and then go out the other, and you might pick up a thing or two from it, but you're incredibly intentional about your own development, how serious you are, like, taking it in the business and perfecting your craft, where you not only, like, that goes in one ear, you also record it, and then you also listen to it over and over and over again. And you're really just trying to be great at what you do. And that desire to have that, I don't know. I mean, I think that comes from different places in all of us. But I mean, I think whatever creates that desire, and then like that action of actually go doing it, I think is really important, and what seems like a great testament to your success today. So,
It's a great word, intentional. Yeah,
yeah,
great point.
I
Yeah.
love that. So, for you, I want to switch gears a little bit here. So, omnipresence commercial. So we're just now celebrating the 1 year. We're
Yeah.
a couple months after the 1 year anniversary of omnipresence. So if you can talk to me about, when did you decide, when did you think, like, hey, I think it's for me, I think it's in the cards for me to go out on my own and start my own brokerage?
Yeah, I think that I'm I'm thankful I came up in a global brand. I think that's the only way that that I could have ever obviously started my own, is having that big global background so that I can play with the big boys, so to speak, and the big girls. So I say that term interchangeably. But
Yeah.
I think once you figure out that there's only 3 teams in the whole state that do what I do, and that it's very niche. It's obvious that I leave a ton of money on the table by not taking on listings. I've been offered massive portfolios, because of my brand awareness, and I just don't want to, because I don't think you can do both things at once. I don't think that I can represent a massive office user and then have an office portfolio. How do you do both things at once? And I
Yeah.
have a lot of
Sorry.
respect for the people that do, but not for me.
Yeah.
And it might just be that tenor rep is all I know. I realize that,
I
but
think you know more than that, but focus is
it is
good.
it is what it is, and I'm not changing. I'm old, and this is what I do. But I there's no I can't I never fit in a box, and I
Yeah.
realized as I was at Cushman for I think I was there for 9 years, and I just never quite fit in the box. And I kept trying, and I had people that I really look up to, like Ryan Patel, who's a mentor to me, and all these people that are very very successful, close to being famously successful. And I was really, the weight was heavy. I would get off the elevator and it was almost like a big gorilla was on my shoulders. I almost cursed.
Big
And
ass gorilla. That's okay.
yeah, I felt
Uh,
like I had to change who I was. I
yeah.
really did. I felt like I don't fit in. I don't, I was told that I should wear closed toed shoes. I was told that I was too bright. Natalie, you always want to stand out. You're too bright. You're supposed to muted colors and pantyhose and this is corporate. And
Yeah.
I didn't fit in. I'm getting the wedgie just thinking about all the rules I was supposed to follow, and
Yeah.
it wasn't for me. And then I went somewhere else, and they were wonderful to me, and I'm thankful for the transition. But you get to the point where why am I doing anything or giving away anything that I earn when what I do is so niche and I don't
Yeah.
need anything from anybody? I'm my own marketing machine. I mean, I teach marketing on a side hustle around the country, and I so you just get to the point where I can do it myself. And I've partnered with a great other company, and they handle all of my accounting. And because, listen, Mama doesn't have an accounting background,
Yeah.
and so it was a huge jump. And God, has it been a humbling experience? I think that the last year and a half has been the most humbling year and a half of my entire life, and uh, I very humbling. But I wouldn't change any of it, because now I'm my own boss, and I've got my own shingle, and the way that I do
Yeah.
things is the way that I do things, and it's been great. It has not been
Yeah.
inhibitive of my ability to win clients and to represent my clients, and that's
Yeah.
really all that matters.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I think that's great. And for you to be humbled, I think that whenever we feel that challenge, because everybody knows, like, hey, you can make really good money in this industry, and at either of the companies that you were with previously, you've made very very good money and had a very comfortable lifestyle. But as far as your own growth goes, not to say that you would have stopped growing at those other firms, but the growth that you've experienced personally, professionally, with starting your own, with starting your own brand, I mean, that has to be exponential. I would assume, right?
It is, and especially for somebody that didn't go to college and doesn't have a business background, to start your own company, you learn about the licensing and you learn about all the things that were handled for you.
Yeah,
Everything is handled for you when you join a firm, and you really just, you just you hang your license and you pass your test, and oh, okay, you're off to the races. But when you're doing your own thing, it's like you got to do everything, and you're hiring a team, and
yeah,
it's very, very, very challenging. And so, this is the first podcast I've done, and it's nice to be able to just say that, and hopefully somebody hears this and understands that it's challenging, but it's also very freeing. um, and I had the most successful career year financially of my entire career in 2023, but
wow,
you would never know it because of the stress and everything that I went through.
yeah,
I finally qualified for some great organizations. I mean, it was literally the best year of my career in 2023, and but also, like I said, the most humbling. So
yeah,
it's it's been a lot. So I'm ready
yeah.
for things to just kind of be smooth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, exactly. I love that. So the sarcasm in smooth and commercial real estate. It's we're always on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But for you, and one of the things I wanted to like hone in on real quick before we move on to the next topic was with the pressure or the stress that comes with starting your own firm. Like you said, you've made the most money you ever had last year, but it was also one of the most stressful or pressure filled as far as that goes. And I don't mean to throw out the coin term like work life balance, but what for you? Would you say you would do differently as far as like a stress pressure? Because oftentimes, like when you come out of stressful seasons, you're like, hey, that was really stressful. I learned X, Y, and Z from it. And to
Yeah.
not
Oh,
feel
for
that way
sure.
again, like, here's what I'm going to do next time. So, like I
Great
said,
question.
is that a work life balance like type like conversation, or is it just like an organization like software deal management conversation? Like, what would you do better next time coming out of a stressful season to have less of that stress and less of that pressure, like for whatever the next kind of busy season that you have?
I love that question. And no, it's actually, I'm one of those that I don't believe in work life balance. You know, um, I think that one's always going to be better than the other. You're always going to be in the best shape, and then your personal life's going to be a mess, or whatever's going on. So I
Yeah,
definitely don't subscribe to that notion. My babies can attest to that. I love my babies, but no, I would absolutely. I think that my year would have been way less stressful. I think that things would be a lot different for me right now if I would have trust my gut instinct. I think that I was insecure in my decision making, and I questioned myself because, again, I don't have a business background when it comes to running a business. And I didn't listen to my own head, and I've got to where I am and my success level by being who I am. And I didn't trust them. I didn't trust my gut for the last year. And I
yeah,
should have, if I had a decision, I should have just made it, and I didn't. And I think that we all know that, especially with firing and hiring and everything else. I think that as a boss and as a decision maker, if you touch on something that can infect an entire crew, you gotta trim that. I think I've heard that on so many podcasts, and I've always said it, and I've seen it firsthand. And man, I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm really, really disappointed in myself in a lot of ways. So trust your gut. I should have trusted my gut. I'm really disappointed in myself, especially at my age.
well, so for you in that, I mean, uh with starting your own firm, and also how hard that is. Like,
Yeah,
it's
didn't
okay,
know
it's
that
okay.
one
Yeah,
either.
yeah. How hard it is. But I mean, I think there's that founder's grace. There's that that entrepreneurial journey. You don't know what you don't know, and you're
Yeah,
not going to know until you go through it. So that's coming out on the other side, it's like, hey, whatever like those decisions are, and however you let yourself down or didn't make the best decisions or timing of those decisions in the moment, um, you're still young and you're still in this game and you've got a long way to go. So it's like, uh,
Hey, your
you
lips
know,
to God's ears, man. Yeah, and
yeah,
it's definitely not. And I want to be very clear when I make the comment of like trimming the fat or catching it before it, it's definitely not just a personnel thing at all. I just
yeah,
I didn't listen to my gut on a lot of different things when it comes to clients, when it comes to trusting your gut with landlords. I truly didn't listen to my gut, and it cost me easily $100,000 on one deal alone, and then it cost me in some other areas. And it's all because I was trying something new, and I should have just entrusted the laurels that I has gotten me to where I am. So it's a bummer. It's a really big bummer in the summer.
so is
All
if you
I can say.
don't, so if you're not trusting your gut in those situations, then what were you trusting, do you think? Just standard operating procedures or market norms or just other feelings, or what do you think that you were trusting that you shouldn't ever relying on?
Great question.
I
I
didn't mean to
think
turn this into a therapy session, but I'm just
no,
interested
I think
selfishly.
it's an important conversation on this call, and I hope that there's females listening to it. And I'm a big proponent. I don't play the female, woe is me in this industry. I think it's a huge advantage, but I didn't want to be the bitch in a deal. And
Mhm.
with one of these things comes to mind, I didn't want to be too aggressive. I didn't want to be abrasive. I was worried about my professional persona in the market, and I didn't trust my gut. And I got completely sidelined and screwed by
Mhm.
a local industrial team.
Mhm.
Because I didn't want to trust my gut, I didn't want to be aggressive. And
Yeah,
I didn't do what I always do, which is cover my ass and make sure I have everything in control.
yeah,
All because I didn't want to be a quote unquote bitch.
yeah, yeah. No, those are good conversations. Those are good lessons. And
Yeah,
I wanted to,
I'm so disappointed in myself because it cost my entire team a massive amount of money. And
yeah,
I'm lowballing with what the number that I quoted you. And there
yeah,
was zero shame in their game, and there was zero, it was delivered with zero shame in their game. They just picked right up, didn't give a shit, and just moved right along. And I
yeah,
don't fault them for it. It was I'm big enough and ugly enough and far along in the tooth I should have done what I should have done.
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
on me.
yeah.
So yeah,
I heard somebody else say it. Once again, somebody smarter than me, but it was uh, kind of the price of entry, or the price that you have to pay to getting to the next tier. And it was encouraging for me because this person was much further along in their journey than I am, and it was saying about like losing money, things falling apart. So the first time you make 100 grand, you're gonna get screwed. You're gonna lose some way somehow at least $10,000, and then on your way to a million, you're gonna get screwed at least out of $100,000, and it just keeps leveling up. So and this person, they were at the point of they lost. It was a $15 million error, a mistake on their side, but they're worth a
holy
hundred
shit.
million. They're worth
I
a
was gonna
hundred million
say at
dollars.
that point,
So
okay,
but it's that like 10-ish% rule of like leveling up in the game of like, hey, if you want to be worth $100 million, then like be prepared to lose or get screwed out of 10 million. And so for you on your journey up, it's like, hey, losing 100 grand or more, as you grow in your career, it's like, some of that might just be the price to pay, unfortunately.
yeah,
But maybe an encouraging way,
great way to
maybe a
look at it.
discouraging way to look at it. I don't know.
That's a great way
Um,
to look at it. And I haven't admitted that to anybody. So
okay.
you're really good at this.
Okay. I'm
Oh my
pulling it
God.
out. I'm pulling, I'm pulling it out. So, I want to hone in a little bit more on like what you said about women in the business. So, you've been very involved with crew. Is that correct?
Yes, I love crew. Yeah.
So when did you get involved with crew? I mean, for those that don't know about it, please plug it. And then, when did you get involved, and like kind of what's that done for you and in your business, and how have you been able to also give back to that organization?
Yeah, crew. I got involved with crew. It was something where my partner was involved with SAOR and with NAOP, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to take you to a lunch." for CREW. And CREW stands for Commercial Real Estate Women. And it's a little bit misleading because men are equally, if not, just equally invited and welcomed. And I went
I
to my
didn't know that.
first, oh, really?
I've always thought, yeah, I was like, I'm not going to one of those. Like, I'm not a
Oh
woman. Like,
my God. I
no,
love it. I love it. Okay. Well, if
don't
you
have
want
me
to,
show up as the only man. Don't like punk me on this
no,
call
no,
and
no,
then.
no. If you want a warm intro to your chapter, I would love to make one.
Okay,
Um,
okay,
so I went to my first meeting, and again, when you're coming from like, you stay at home mom, I don't know how to talk about anything but my kids. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's
yeah,
uncomfortable. And I went to my first meeting and he introduced me and I got a hug and I was immediately like, oh my gosh, you're my people.
yeah,
So they immediately made me a incoming president-elect is what it's called. I'd never been on a board. I'd never been in an organization, and I broke every rule. I would get called, Natalie, you can't do that. But we started with 35 members, and we had, I think, like $5,200 in the bank. We ended with, like, I think it was 132 members by the time I was done with my presidency. And listen, I did this by breaking every rule in the book, and we had, I don't know how much money in the bank, because I would make Natalie packages. I'd be like, listen up, CBRE. You can sponsor CREW. You can get 2 tickets to the
yeah,
big event. I'll put your logo up here and I'll give you, and they'd be like, you can't do that. And I'm doing it. And so, but
ABC. Always be close.
it's a global network.
Yeah,
It is this incredible organization where, because when you start in commercial real estate, or any organization, you do, how are you supposed to know to go in a room and pitch for business? How are you supposed to know how to hold yourself? How are you supposed to know that you're not supposed to? I was fascinated to learn that you're not supposed to sit there and smile the entire time like an idiot. I thought, I'm going to go in there and smile during a pitch the whole time. No, so you learn all these things
yeah,
when through these organizations, and you don't know unless you're exposed. And so the national convention, you go into a room and you're surrounded by the women that you want to be. And I'd never seen that because it's a male
yeah,
dominated industry.
yeah.
And so you go in and there's 1,000 women. I don't know, there's 20,000 members globally, but you go in at the convention, there's 3,000 women there and men, but it's female dominated. Thank you. And it's all the women that you want to be. And they're
Yeah,
kind and they're gracious and they're successful and they're
yeah,
C-suite.
yeah,
And I was lucky enough that Cushman and Wakefield invested in me. And it's hanging on my wall downstairs in my office. I'm in my home studio. And it, they put me through the leadership and legacy program. So I have a certificate in leadership. And they had a Harvard professor teach me all these things: body language, how to
yeah,
negotiate. I heard from Amy Cuddy about the power pose at one of their conventions. If you do this before you go into a meeting, my hands are on my hips,
yeah, yeah.
um, then you're more likely to have confidence.
Okay.
All these things that really helped my business and how I presented and how I pitched. And then
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit at a table like a big moron.
yeah, yeah,
you know and it also, the deals that you get through the network as well, it absolutely changed my life in
yeah.
so
That's
many
awesome.
ways. You become crew sisters.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
And
it's great.
I know a lot of women in the industry that are a part of that organization all across, like, and I hear incredible things at every chapter. Like, I have friends in Dallas, and I mean,
How
here in
did you
Central,
not know about men then? Huh?
I just didn't like, I mean, in the name, I mean, you hear the name and you see
Yeah,
pictures of the girls at the events, and it's like all women at a, event that's titled for women. So I feel
yeah.
like I get a pass on that, right? Like,
Yeah, you totally get a pass.
okay,
But the
okay,
men, what was so important during my presidency, and the current president too, we are actually just golfing and talking about it, is the men are really important because by them going and sponsoring, they help the message that they're supportive, because it's a male dominated industry. So by these higher, CEOs and CFOs and the founders of the construction companies and the brokerages and everything else going, and the
yeah,
law firms, you're saying this is important. Like when
yeah,
listen, like when LeBron goes and watches the WNBA,
hmm,
that gives clout. Unfortunately, in this industry, we still need that.
hmm,
We need the use of the industry and the Ken Ashleys. And that's why I'm so proud of CREI. It's 50% women at these summits that
yeah,
they throw.
Yeah.
We need that because we're
Yeah.
outnumbered. We are
Yeah.
outnumbered.
Yeah, and I think I was talking to Ken Ashley. I had him on a few episodes ago, and it's not released yet, but
Oh,
I believe it was him I
that's
was
so
talking
cool.
to, or it was Patrick Sentner. It was one of those guys, but we were
Um,
talking about women in the industry, and I was like, so I'm in Central Florida and do industrial, and I said like,
yeah,
if you know industrial in Central Florida, like trust me, I know firsthand. Like if I know I'm going up against, and don't get me wrong, I love competition all the way through and like love competing on deals. Nothing like gets me more jacked up than that. But if I see Jessica Mizrahi across the table, Robin Hurl,
yeah,
if I see Julia Silva, if I see any of these women in the Central Florida region, they are bad to the bone and they will eat your lunch. Like they
yeah.
they
She's
are
my soul
top
sister. I
notch.
love Jessica. Yeah,
They are top notch and
yeah.
they absolutely crush it. So
Hmm.
the women in the industry, like I said, across the board, but especially here in Central Florida, especially in the industrial sector. I guess I chose a hard sector because
I
they
love to hear that. I love to hear that. That is so cool.
no,
Here in Vegas too, the women, a female has the Amazon account. Like we've got some massive players out here, and I'm so proud. I'm so
yeah.
proud.
Yeah, no, I love that. So for before we talk about CREI, I want to talk about whenever when did you really start usually using social media as a tool? Like at what stage in your brokerage career did you get on? Was it Twitter first? Was it LinkedIn? And like, when did you say, hey, I'm going to take the time out of my busy work schedule of, work and doing the mom thing and the busy life that I have to, be intentional about being on social media? Like, tell me how that went down.
Again, I have to thank my then partner. He, along with crew, he said social media, Twitter, and he introduced me to Coy Davidson. So the OGs of social media, Ken Ashley, Coy Davidson, um, and some of the Barbie Reuter. Holy Lord! I mean, this woman is like walks on water to me. We have so many of these incredible people on Twitter, and so it just became. And then I coined the hashtag CRE Fam, and it's how we just became this incredible community. And I remember the
Yeah.
first time that Coy Davidson liked one of my tweets. I took a screenshot and sent it to my family. So,
There you go.
and now he's like a really close friend. So it's so cool how it goes full circle. And Ken Ashley is a brother. I mean, I love that man so much. He's been such a mentor. Um, so it's Twitter, I'd say was first.
Yeah.
I'd say I've made the most amount of money off of Twitter.
Hmm.
It's honestly how I was able to survive after leaving Cushman. Was my own personal brand was so big because 3 months later COVID hit, and who would have known that one? So um, yeah, Twitter, our CRE fam fed me so many deals. I mean,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Gabe Moran's from Savills. I mean, these guys, it's insane. It's absolutely insane how supportive everybody was. And I mean, massive deals. So
Yeah.
all from our
No.
series, all from Twitter. And then
Yeah.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a really huge source of business for me. Insta, I'm awful. It's
Mhm.
embarrassing. My kids call me a boomer. TikTok,
Oh
I don't
man.
I don't even open TikTok. I think it's the bane of our existence. I think I blocked it from my
Yeah.
house. Um, but I'd say Twitter and LinkedIn are really, really valuable resources for our industry
Yeah.
and
No,
highly.
and yeah, and you've made quite the splash on both those platforms from what I've seen, and I've neglected Twitter, even though that's like the other. I've been on LinkedIn for some
You've
time,
done
and
good.
and but in Twitter I've really neglected, and I haven't given what it's due. And I talked to Ken about this. I talked to others about this. But for you going into Twitter and from an outsider looking in, so to speak, what it takes to be, I don't want to call it successful on Twitter, but what it takes to engage with Twitter and like give the algorithm what it wants, I guess, with posting, with liking, with commenting, with replying. Like, what is your kind of I would say strategy, but like, how do you engage with Twitter? Do you try to post every day? Do you try to spend 20-30 minutes liking and sharing and commenting and doing all those things, like or just a random good thought comes to your head and you drop the tweet, which I don't know, what do they call it now that it's
Oh,
X.
I do.
Is it still a
Everything that
tweet?
you just said is what I say. Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know how to do it. I don't know
You
how to
haven't
say
conformed
I
to
X.
the
I don't know. I don't think he
okay.
was thinking when he did that. Yeah. And then when on your phone, every time I open up the app, like if I'm on a plane, I feel like it looks like a naughty website. Like, because it's a pink, like my one is pink. I am showing you my phone. Like it's pink and it's a pink X. I'm like, I feel like people think that I'm going to like a naughty website. I don't know. So what I do is it's very conversational to me.
Yeah.
I need to post more like, you know, CRE related stuff, but I use it very conversationally, and I use the hashtag CRE fam, and I search that hashtag to see what's going on with our community. And that I use it conversationally. I check in to see what everybody else is doing, and I comment and I like it. It's always very genuine. I don't comment or engage with people that I don't find to be interesting or kind. And that's what I do on LinkedIn too. If I'm not feeling it, I don't post. Nothing is ever robotic or pre-done for me. I don't use any of those like Hootsuite or anything
Yeah.
like that. I mean, there'll be times you don't hear from me for a week. It means I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Check on me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's very conversationally. I mean, get to know a few people that you really like and follow them, and that will kind of get your feet wet.
Yeah.
It's hard to get started, but then once you do, you'll see that everyone's just talking to each other. It's honestly just we're all just kind of checking in with one another, kind of like
Yeah.
your family chat on your cell phone. That's literally what Twitter is.
Yeah.
Like we're all just checking in. Like I want to see what
Okay.
Ken's doing. Oh, okay, cool. I want to see what Koi's. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? I just want
Yeah.
to check in with everybody. It's great.
Yeah, and so one of and like I said, as the opposite of a power user on Twitter, one thing I noticed, and I might be totally wrong by this, I might have gotten on the wrong accounts or people that were just like not like uh, what I'm trying to say is on Twitter, what I've noticed, and tell me if I'm completely wrong, is it's a little bit of a flexathon. If
Yeah.
like are people flexing on Twitter like harder than LinkedIn? Because I feel like LinkedIn is seems more like, I mean, of course, people post about their deals and congratulate people and things like that, and I see that, but I feel like Twitter is a little bit more of, for lack of a better term, like a little bit of a pissing match, and maybe that's just some accounts, maybe that's, I don't know,
I
but
think that's a good observation.
okay,
I think that that's some of the newer population that's on there.
yeah, yeah,
It's very my kids say pick me. Um, um,
yeah,
but I think there's a lot of people on there that aren't doing that, you know.
yeah, yeah,
I think so you'll be able to just stay out of that lane. You know, there's swimming lanes, and you
yeah,
don't have to join that swimming lane. You can be in the other lanes where it's just kind of like, hey,
yeah,
I'm headed out to watch the ball game, and it's them with their
yeah,
kids. It's really easy to tell who's doing what and who feels the need to constantly get their back patted.
yeah.
It's very, yeah, it's a bummer. I get on there and and then I just get bored of the you know, constant need to have it's exhausting. But then, it's
Okay.
cute too, because some people are new to the industry and it's cute that they're so excited. And I remember being that way.
Yeah.
But then there's people that have been doing it forever and it's like, oh, it's exhausting. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And that's why I like CREI too, because it's like we've all been doing it together for so long. And so that's kind of like, you know, like-minded people. And
Yeah.
I feel like you're on Twitter. That's how we know each other.
I want to say it's LinkedIn.
I want to say it's
It's more
Twitter.
LinkedIn.
I'm gonna
If
I'm
if it is,
gonna call you out on
then
this now.
yeah. Well, I mean,
You're probably right.
and now that I've had more people on the show that are like really more of the power users, not the flexers, the power users on Twitter, I feel like even more, it's like I feel that conviction of like, hey, like I know I should be a part of this club, but like I don't, I'm like still like outsider looking in, like, tapping my toe in the water type thing, just from like an engagement, like, another platform to keep up with, another thing to post on, another like, it's just a, like, as we talked before, like baby number 4 is on the way. I just got a lot, I got a
I
lot going
know. I'm
on. So
excited for you. Whatever you're doing is working. LinkedIn is where all the professionals are, and there's a tool called Dripify. It's a great tool for LinkedIn. Like if I had to say like, hey, focus on one, I think, for you, Dripify would be amazing because you can, LinkedIn, because you can really pinpoint who you want to be in front of. And then
Hmm.
it's like, I just think of my LinkedIn as like a brick and mortar and it's my storefront,
Yeah.
and that's like, and I love LinkedIn because I can see, who viewed my profile, but not only that, I can see how they came to view it. So I can see who like LinkedIn searched me, because that always gives me a little kick. When my
Yeah.
competition will take the time to search me in the, like they go to LinkedIn and then they type my name in. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
fun, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I like LinkedIn, because it's like they're
Yeah.
going to my storefront. They want to see what I'm up to,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're window
LinkedIn's
shopping. I love
yeah.
that. Uh,
Okay,
and
window
and what
shopping.
is
I like
so I'm gonna check it out after, but what is give me the quick elevator pitch on Dripify.
So Dripify is a tool that you can, let's say, I'll give you a great example. So I'm going to Silicon Valley, and I did this with our local university. We are going to Silicon Valley for a bunch of startups, and my job with UNLV's uh, tech division, let's say, was to recruit companies to Southern Nevada. So what I did is I got the list of, it was like $3,500 a ticket to go to this, but I went with the university, so didn't have to pay that much. But
Nice.
by having a ticket, I got all of the people that were going. So I plugged into ChatGPT, said scrape all the people that are going to this event. Then I go to LinkedIn, have it search put the names into LinkedIn and then put it onto my Dripify. It's automatically going to connect me with everybody going. But what's going to happen is once they connect with me, not not a part of my like LinkedIn request, but once they hit connect with me, then I'll say, "Hey, great to connect. I'm going to be at the I don't want to say the name of it, but I'm going to be at that, the
Yeah.
tech
Yeah.
event. I'm going to be at the tech event next week. Would love to schedule a coffee." So it's going to pinpoint directly who you want to talk to. So while I'm working, it's like I see it as like an octopus in my head,
Yeah.
that I am linked, like my brick and mortar is connecting to hundreds of decision makers that I want to get in front of, and I can see the effect of it. I have hundreds of them looking at my profile,
Mhm.
responding if they want to, if they're interested at all. Some of them can tell me to pound sand, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there working on my real estate business while I'm paying $100 a month to connect with hundreds, if not 1,000, more than that, decision makers. And you can do it
Yeah.
for anything. You can go to LinkedIn, type in, if I'm going to San Diego, I can do San Diego CFOs and then
Mhm.
connect with all of them. So it's a really great tool. I don't share it with any of my locals. So I don't want anybody local to listen to this,
We
Augie.
will block this episode. We'll
We'll
geo
block it
target.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
geo
But you know
target
what's
Nevada
great?
out of
You can
this
give people
podcast.
gold and they won't actually do it. And I learned that from Gary Vaynerchuk years ago. I mean, you could
Yeah.
literally give people the key to the castle and they will look at you and go, "How do I grow my business?" And you'll go, "Here," and they won't do it. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's such a powerful tool. I love the use case, which was like events, because we all get those, like you get notifications every single day for like connection, and it's like,
oh,
hey, Augie, like thanks for connecting. I saw we had some similar interests, or you're in commercial real estate, and like we sell solar, or we do whatever it is, and you get so many of those a day, and it's just like
a cold
even
day.
now when I DM people on LinkedIn, some of what I've been saying, like in the first sentence, is like, "Hey, Natalie, like, don't worry, this isn't one of those cheesy automated LinkedIn messages." Like that has to be my first sentence because people get so many. But I think a really good hook as well is like what you said about an event. If you're going to an event with 500 people, 1,000 people, 5,000 people, it's like a person and it's a specific event that's coming up soon. Like that's not just some like spray and pray. Every single person that connects with me, I'm going to connect with everybody in commercial real estate and pitch my services on the first like cold, DM. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Cold.
uh,
Oh God. And the automation to like send emails. Cause now they can, Dripify has the functionality. It can scrape emails and you can send an email. Don't use it for the love of God. I get 30 emails a day and it's the most unprofessional. I hate you. How did you get my email thing ever? But I mean, it's great. So if you ever want to have a side convo and I can show you or your team, you let me know. Cause it's great. I mean, you could say I was just in your building. That's a great opener.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
closed a deal in your building. You could pinpoint it for however you want to in your
yeah.
business, but it's a great tool.
Yeah, I love that. And so I want to share one as well. You might have already heard of it. You're a pro. But have you used Lucia?
Never even heard of it, man. Don't give me too much credit. What's Lucia? How do I spell it?
Okay. So Lucia is, and I know we're running out of time here. We got lots to talk about.
Yeah, but this
Uh,
is
th-
this is good.
this
So,
this is
oh.
fun. So Lucia, it came out a few years ago, and once again, I can show you after if you'd like. But it's a plugin for LinkedIn, and I
Okay.
believe that you can use it for some other websites as well. But when it first came out, probably 2-3 years ago, it was like really really good. I think it's still good now, not as good, but what it does is the little plugin. So when you jump into LinkedIn and I go to your profile, we can do it afterwards and see, I guess, and like see if it works on your profile.
Okay.
But and it's a little plugin, and it's the little girl icon. You click on it, and then it says like you have credits, and then you can see like, hey, Natalie Wainwright. Here's email, here's phone number, like work number, cell number, or whatever information it has for you.
Oh, you can. Okay.
So like you can get phone number, or cell phone number, email with probably 70%, 60,
Oh,
seventy
okay. So
percent
you can
of
invade
people.
somebody's entire privacy. You can just. You're one of those people.
I'm using the tool. I'm using the tool. I,
That's awesome.
I was using it when it first came out, and like there was a I used it on a CEO to like a Fortune 100, maybe Fortune 500 company, like a CEO,
Yeah.
and then clicked him on Lucia, got his direct, picked up. He said, "This is Dan," and like this is the CEO of
Oh,
this like Fortune 500 company, and I was like, and then went on with about my business, and
that's
talked to the guy.
awesome.
But
That's awesome.
like the first cell number from a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, since then I was like, this tool is crazy. So
That's so cool. I'm gonna
I
check it
would
out.
assume, I
Very
would
cool.
assume it's legal. I mean, they're operating. They're you can download it on any of these
Yeah.
browsers, but that's Big Brother. I mean, there's some
It's
things you
all
just
Big
don't know.
Brother. Listen, we need all the tools that we can. It's all about tools, right? Work harder,
Yeah,
smarter, not harder. So that's
yeah,
cool. I'm gonna check that
yeah.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we run here, I want to talk about CREI. So I got the origin story from Ken.
Yeah.
When did you get involved with CREI, and how's that been? Tell me
Well,
about
I didn't come up during the origin story. I'm a little bit offended. So I was there year one. We had it in Truckee, and my daughter was actually up at UNR, and I had a home up there. Um, and so yeah, year one, I've been involved since the beginning. It's been an exciting to watch it grow. Ken is incredible. I think that he took a big gamble. He's with Cushman and Wakefield, and he's taken a big gamble, and it's about bringing everybody together, and iron sharpens iron. And
it.
this is an industry where I can tell you, when I left CW, I immediately lost a lot of um, contacts on LinkedIn, because you're not connected with me anymore. You don't need to see who my clients are. And it
Mm,
hurt. I'm a hippie at heart, man. It hurt. And that's just not who Ken is. He wants everyone to succeed. He thinks we can all rise together. He wants us to see the best way to win pitches and the best way
yeah,
to climb, using social media. I mean, Carrie Bob's involved with it. She is Hello Jenny is her firm, and she's absolutely incredible. And he has found a way to bring everybody together, the titans of the industry. Bob Knackle, like he's just this massive, massive guy. Everyone's going to be there, and and this year he's even launched an app, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of that, on the committee under Kyle and Sarah, and it's literally an app, and where if you subscribe to it as part of your ticket, we're like all in there, and you're part, like we're live chatting with each other, and you get all the content from the summit. And I don't know, there's just nothing like it, Augie. Like,
yeah,
and it's all from a guy at Cushman and Wakefield that, on paper, he's supposed to be the one that's hiding the paper, and he's just the antithesis. He's just everything that I hope that I can be, and my legacy will be in this industry. And he's
yeah,
believed in me for 14 years, and he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's really taken a gamble. And this is year four, and it's going
yeah.
to be in Atlanta. and I'm really excited about it. I mean, this guy had lobster year one. He does nothing. He does not. It was at the Ritz Carlton. He does nothing that's not tier one, classy. It's kind of Ashley, and that's all I gotta say. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, he is just everything is just done to the nines, and that's all that it's going to be. And
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see everybody because you're hugging everybody and seeing everybody that you've been connecting with over, Twitter and everything else, and you don't
Yeah.
realize that you've never met in person. You
Yeah.
know, because you've
Yeah.
been like I've never met Corey Zelnick in person, but he's like a brother to me. I mean, I love that man so much, and it's so weird we've never actually met. And
Yeah.
Conrad Matson and all these incredible people where if you called and said, "Oh my God, I need that language for that lease," or "I'm selling this building, can you help me?" They'll stay up till midnight and help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's who you're surrounding yourself with, especially for
So,
somebody like me, that doesn't have the network, but I do because of
yeah.
CRE.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. So, for any listeners that haven't checked it out, checking it out is a must in an event in September. And you're so right about Ken Ashley. You see people that do incredible things and people that bring people together uh, and just produce great things in the market. And I have never really conversated with Ken before our podcast, and probably like 5 minutes in, 3 or 4 minutes in to like hearing him talk. I mean, just the first 10 minutes of our podcast, I was just like blown away. Like, this man is salt of the earth. He cares a lot about the industry. He talked about his wife for the first 5 minutes of it, like his love for his wife.
Yeah,
Um,
she's
like
amazing.
I left a better man from that podcast, and a better man more than just like in the commercial real estate industry,
As a
like
father too. I mean,
a
his
father,
kids.
as a husband. Like,
Yeah,
I left much, much better from Ken Ashley. So thank you, Ken, if you're watching. And yeah,
you're
I
gonna
look
make me
forward to.
cry. That was really sweet.
We're gonna end on a crying note. We're gonna stop this recording and have a sob session. But no, Ken is a special man, and CREI is something really special that he's put together. So before we run, Natalie, what is it for you? Maybe that's coming up. What's coming up in the next 12 months or so? Maybe a couple of years. What's down the road, or you're looking at in the windshield of Natalie and omnipresence or personal brand or whatever it is. What are you looking forward to that you're excited about that's coming up?
I'm excited to get back out on the speaking road. I promised myself I would give a year to omnipresence, and I've done that. We hit our year anniversary in February, and it went in a completely different direction than I thought it would. And that's okay.
Yeah,
And now I get to go back out and do something that's a little bit soul fulfilling for me, and
yeah,
get back out speaking at universities and to different firms. And that's what I like to do. I really, really
yeah,
enjoy watching people light up and seeing what they're capable of, whether it's a student knowing that kindness wins in the corporate world and you do not have to be ugly to make it. You really
yeah,
don't. Or it's a firm knowing that, you that it's not egocentric to post about your wins. It's actually you're doing yourself a favor
yeah,
to post about it, especially if you're a female. We
yeah,
need to see you. We want to watch you. We want to watch you so we can see that we can make it.
yeah,
So I look forward to doing that and being able to bring my babies with me when I go on these trips now that they're older. So
yeah. No,
that's
that's
what it's
awesome.
all
I love
about.
that. Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, for all the women watching, I mean, they can see you and see your success and your encouragement to not only women but men in the business as well. You're very impressive. So I've really enjoyed this, and I will post all the links below where you all can connect with Natalie. And Natalie, thank you so much for being on the show. And for those of you that want to connect with Natalie, you can go down to the links. You can follow her. You can DM her. And really, she is a blessing to the business and to the commercial real estate industry. So make sure you do so. And as always, like and subscribe to the channel. Comment below. Let us know what you want to hear next time. And we'll see you guys then. Peace.
Thanks, Augie.
Thank you.